What do Batman, the Ninja Turtles, Charlie Brown, and Invincible have in common? Well, they all started with the same thing, an idea. My name is D.S.R, and I am a writer, artist, and illustrator behind D.S.R Deep Space Rescue, Volume 1, and this is Creating Comics 101, the web series. Yes, it's no secret that comic books are a treasure trove when it comes to storytelling, something that Hollywood and TV shows have caught on to in recent years. But the question is, how do you get your idea out of your head onto a written page and eventually turn into a comic book? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we make that happen? What do you need to do? Well, again, as the writer and illustrator of D.S.R Deep Space Rescue, I have a little bit of experience, and I want to share some of that with you. The first thing that's really, really important is to make sure that you have a solid story. And that is, do you know what your story is about? Now, I'm not talking about action scenes or superpowers. I'm talking about the core of your story. Figuring that out first can be really important because now your entire creation has a direction to go in. So one of the first things I did when creating my book was actually wrote a very loose synopsis. Now that may sound kind of strange because you're writing a synopsis for a book that doesn't exist yet, but there's a good reason to do it. The reason is you lay out for yourself what your book is about. So it's almost like giving yourself a pitch for your own creation. When I wrote mine, I kept it very brief, just like what you would see on the back of an actual book. So how does that help you? Well, it helps you to set up what the direction your book will be going in as a series. Now we can talk about the next step, which would be creating your characters. So you know what the series is about. Now you can decide who is the cast in your series. Who's the cast of your comic? In doing that, you also want to think about what are your characters' motivations? What are their needs, their dreams, and most importantly, their flaws? What are those flaws that your characters have that they have to overcome? If you create your characters with those thoughts in mind, guaranteed to have a story that will be extremely engaging to your audience. So thinking about your characters, your plot, are really, really important steps before you start writing your script. So we're going to talk about script writing itself just a little bit. I'll tell you what my process was, and that was basically writing by hand, which sounds really weird in this day and age, but that was an intentional choice. So grabbing an old notebook or getting a new one and just sitting down and writing. There's a reason for that, and it's you become more focused on what you're doing if you continue to sit down with a pen and paper and write by hand. It also forces you to work slower than you normally would. So writing by hand is slower, but you can be more intentional with what you're writing. Well, let's pause it here. We're going to stop here for Volume 1 of Creating Comics. And next time, we're going to talk about getting your artwork out of your script.